Okay, let's talk about thumbnail sketches. So why do you need to know about thumbnail sketches? Because they're the most efficient and actually best way to understand building proportions. And we'll go through that in a second. Let me just show you a couple of examples of thumbnails, right? So miniature sketches. Okay, so what are thumbnails? As you can see, they are miniatures of larger drawings. They can be probably any size, but I recommend you go for 4 by 4 centimeters, and you draw them in a strip, so they're not just one isolated thumbnail somewhere, but they actually fit into sort of like a strip or a grid if you're drawing more on the same page. So how do thumbnail sketches work? Well, basically, to get a good proportion of a sketch, that's kind of a non-linear process. You probably tried it at certain times and didn't really work out. That's mostly because when you draw something and you draw a building that you want to sketch and to get an accurate sketch of, it's kind of complicated to understand all the detailing. And 98% of times you need to go and do several attempts until you get the correct one there. Well, why couldn't you just go for understanding the proportions first and skip the whole part on graphics? Because you've probably noticed the larger drawing is, the more graphics it needs. So that's where thumbnail sketches kick in. So let's say you want to draw a famous building. Well, the best approach would be to start doing a 4 by 4 centimeter thumbnail sketch of the building. Alright, you go and do that, and then you can go and see or double check the proportions. If the proportions are okay, and they're typically not, if they're okay, you're good to go for the large drawing. But let's say they're not okay. Well, you can go and do the thumbnail again, and then the proportions are slightly better. And then you can check again and see if the proportions are good, and they're typically a bit off. And then you go a third or a fourth time, and you get sort of like a thumbnail progression. So the first building looks weird, the last one looks very accurate. And then it's just a matter of time for you to go and take that small sketch and create a large drawing of it, which looks good. And keep in mind, a thumbnail sketch takes 2 to 3 minutes because it doesn't involve graphics. As you can see here, you can draw them in any media you like, be it graphite, markers, liner, pen, whatever. And I also recommend you don't do them as graphically as some of the examples here. Although these are good, you'd actually be better off if you just sketch them even with a continuous line, a free-flowing line. Like if you remember the Frank Lloyd Wright sketches, that sort of thing, okay? Okay, so just one more tip. If you want to use thumbnails, they are a very, very good tool for understanding composition. As you can see, we've got a composition here with glasses, a Coke bottle, and an alarm clock. Obviously, just to start off to draw the large drawing from the first go wouldn't be the best of ideas. It would probably not take you there because it's hard to get the proportions right. So your best bet would be to go and first understand the objects in a couple of thumbnail sketches. Right, so we got this coffee filter here, an antique coffee filter. Well, your best bet is to understand it in a sketch first, and then you obviously compose the 3 objects in a small composition in a thumbnail as well, right? Because that kind of builds up your mental muscles, gets you ready for the large drawing, right? Okay, so these are thumbnails. Well, now what could you use them for? I recommend you start filling up some pages with thumbnails just to get used to the idea. And also, don't forget to use them when drawing compositions. Use them for brainstorming, because they don't imply graphics, they just imply the idea behind drawing. And you can see the translation between sketch and final drawing is kind of smooth. Alright, you take care, draw nicely.